Hi guys! I'm starting a new series called Untranslatable Jokes where I'll break down moments from different TV shows and talk about why some jokes are so hard to translate into other languages and what you might be missing out on. Back when I was a student, I watched a lot of TV shows. I called it productive procrastination because they were helping me learn English. Today I want to talk about my favorite TV show of all time, The Office, and one scene in particular. Let's go. Even though I already spoke English when I first watched this show, I wasn't that familiar with American culture, so a lot of jokes didn't land for me. That's why today I want to dive into the cold open of season 3, episode 20, product recall, and show why this happens to so many non native speakers.
It's kind of blurry. It's better.
I love this scene because it works on so many levels: cultural, linguistic, character driven, and situational. The first thing we see in this cut is a running gag. So, it's a type of joke that keeps coming back through a story, show, or conversation, getting funnier each time. Jim constantly pranking Dwight is a running gag. Jim dressing up as Dwight to prank Dwight takes it up a notch. And the fact that Dwight doesn't immediately notice it, comedy gold. It gets even better when Jim opens his mouth.
Question. What kind of bear is best?
That's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear.
Well, that's debatable. There are basically two schools of thought.
Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Jim begins with question. It's exactly how Dwight would start a conversation: blunt, awkward, and overly serious. And the question about bears is just ridiculous. We all know it. Even Dwight knows it. But as soon as Jim declares that black bears are the best, Dwight immediately jumps into the conversation. We also have to keep in mind that Dwight is both a farmer and a hunter, so it's very easy to draw him into any conversation about animals. That was a genius move on Jim's part. By the way, I don't know about you guys, but I've always had an unfinished business with this joke because I have been dying to know what two schools of thought actually exist on the matter of bears. Up until now, the jokes were fairly easy to translate because they relied more on the show itself than on language. But from this point on, the real problems begin. Problems for translators.
Bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not. What is going on? What are you doing?
Bears eat beets. Bears, beets, Battlestar Galactica. The first problem is alliteration. This is a stylistic technique where words placed close to each other repeat the same initial consonant sound. For example, she sells seashells by the seashore. Bears, beets, Battlestar Galactica. It's extremely difficult to translate this joke into other languages while preserving the same repeated consonants. The second problem is that the word beet, a vegetable, beetroot, and the word beat, to hit repeatedly, to defeat, or the rhythm in music, are homophones in English. Homophones are words that sound the same but are spelled differently and mean different things. You can easily tell them apart when they are written, but not when they are spoken. In speech, they can only be distinguished by context, not pronunciation. So, Jim keeps saying nonsense like bears, beets, Battlestar Galactica. And Dwight is a huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, so he hears exactly what he wants to hear, that bears will defeat Battlestar Galactica, and he instantly takes the bait.
Bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not. What is going on?
I think the joke works especially well for English speakers because the grammatically correct phrasing would be bears beat Battlestar Galactica. But that doesn't even matter. Dwight is already hooked into the absurd argument. The writers leave a deliberate ambiguity. We never know what Dwight truly wants to say. Was it, bears do not beat Battlestar Galactica? Or bears do not eat beets? That uncertainty is part of the joke's brilliance. At the same time, it's difficult for translators because you need to translate only half a sentence without a verb. In some languages, that doesn't work. For example, in German, where the verb must come second and the negation comes before the noun or even at the end of the sentence. So the translator has to choose, either render it with one pronoun, for example, I, or add a verb that doesn't exist in the original. And of course, there's also a cultural layer. The black bear, or American black bear, is native to North America. It primarily lives in the US, Canada, and northern Mexico. So people from these countries can easily picture this animal and understand exactly what kind of bear Jim is talking about. The same goes for Battlestar Galactica. I think the joke is even funnier if you grew up watching the show and you are a fan. Viewers outside the US might miss the reference because we just didn't have this experience.
So say we all. 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 So say we all.
Let's see how they translated this joke into other languages. I'll be using the Netflix version since it's easy to switch between subtitles. And if you watch The Office with other subtitles or translations, feel free to write in the comments how these jokes are translated in your native language. So, the alliteration and homophones are lost. In the original, Dwight says, bears do not, without a verb, but in the German translation, they chose to add the verb eat. As a result, the implication that bears defeat Battlestar Galactica disappears. In Turkish, they went with this version, keeping the repetition of the word endings, which also adds some rhythm, and I think it's funny. As for the second part of the joke, they simply removed the negation and kept bears, which kinda kills the original joke. But that's okay because the joke itself is basically untranslatable. And the same thing happened in almost every other language. Plus, Turkish is an agglutinative language, and negation is expressed through negative suffixes attached to the verb. This means they would have to write out the whole sentence. Literally, bears do not eat beets. Whereas in the original, Dwight never finished his sentence. And let's watch the ending of this scene, which is great too.
Last week, I was in a drugstore and I saw these glasses, $4. And it only cost me $7 to recreate the rest of the ensemble, and that's a grand total of $11.
You know what? Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, so I thank you. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year. Michael! Oh, that's funny. Michael!
Here, we also have a linguistic joke. Jim uses the word ensemble instead of outfit. Ensemble sounds more elevated, even pretentious, and in fashion, it specifically means a coordinated set of clothes. And what could be more coordinated than these glasses and that shirt? The word ensemble comes from French, and some languages have borrowed it as well. That's why some translators kept the same word, for example, in the Russian and Dutch versions. Others used words like outfit or costume. But maybe these words have funny connotations in your language. If that's the case, please let me know in the comments. That's all for today. Next time, we'll talk about other untranslatable jokes and how translators try to save the laugh. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment telling me how this joke was translated into your native language. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any other videos. See you next time!